It wasn't so long ago that demos were out of fashion. None of the online platforms had them on offer, and there were no more magazines to print them. Demos were gone. If Voice of Cards had been made during that period, I think it might have had a real difficult time upon its release being taken seriously by the public at large. When I saw the trailer at the Nintendo Direct, I immediately assumed it was just another deck builder game, because they are somewhat in vogue right now. Now don't get me wrong, I like me a deck builder, like the next 37 neck-beardy glass-toting Nerdmeister, but there is a limit, and we've already reached it, I feel. So when Square Enix rolled out the 94 seconds of footage and I saw cards, I immediately dismissed it. I dismissed it like Donald Trump asking for his Twitter account back. And I don't think I would have been alone there. The trailer, in my subhuman opinion, doesn't do a great job of detailing what the game actually is. Because this is not a card game. It's a game of cards. Alright, crappy jokes aside, this really isn't a card game. Voice of Cards is a turn-based role-playing game, where everything is made from cards. Okay, not everything, but you get the point. When you start up the demo, straight away you're shown a worn, old-looking table, and a collection of cards is thrown onto it to come together and form the title of the game. This is where all of the gameplay that has been shown so far takes place. If you remove the bird's eye view from above, you could be mistaken from thinking that you're in a pub, having a drink with some friends, and playing some D&D. And Voice of Cards really leans into this idea. Once you begin, you're greeted by your dungeon master / narrator. A husky and friendly-sounding Todd Habercorn takes the reins of your adventure, telling you that he will...
You see, my job is to draw you into this world with my voice and cards.
And he does. Oh man, this quaint little tabletop pub game of D&D really speaks to me. The fact that the whole aesthetic is cards caused me to use my imagination and fill in the gaps, just like reading a story from a book. The simple maps that are flipped over into existence form the basis of the story, but the writing and those small movements and flourishes of the cards give the game that something extra that compels the part of my brain that still feels wonder to chug back into gear. Someone out there still makes games for cynical old farts, it seems. And that someone might be Yoko Taro. Creator of the Nier franchise and all-around weird dude, Taro-san is a director and writer for Voice of Cards. And if this vertical slice is anything to go by, he's doing a great job on this game. It was the humour that caught me the most off guard. Too many games these days try to cram in humour in the form of pratfalls and basic misunderstandings to try and glean a laugh out of its audience. Voice of Cards doesn't do this. The humour of this game seems oddly reserved and almost austere, reminding the player that humour can be subdued and still hit well. Early on you go into the town of Nexton, a place where the demo forces you to go to get some information on a stolen item, only to be welcomed by an NPC known as the Greeter. This isn't uncommon in RPGs, especially early games where there was almost always an NPC whose virtual life is dedicated to letting you know where you are. But instead of just following the trope, the Isle Dragon Roars doubles down on this, giving you a character who can only greet you, but giving you a choice of questions that you can ask him. Of course, subtle humour can lead to it being sometimes missed if you aren't paying attention, but that was never a problem for me. I love the narrator's voice, and the characters are so well written that I was always left wanting more.
The fisherman snatches up the concoction, so delighted that his pectoral muscles begin twitching. The fellowship politely ignores this fact.
If the audio of this game is a delight, then its visuals are easily a match for that as well. Small details are found all over the place, from small smudges on the edge of cards, showing that they've been well used, to a tiny Emil face showing in the card for the orc child. Loads of items litter the playing surface in gorgeous quality drawings and textures, all adding to that same feeling that you're playing a tabletop game somewhere. I could continue gushing about the things I've enjoyed from this demo so far, but there is one thing in particular I have that worries me about this game. Its mechanics. From everything I saw so far, The party of characters you were given in the demo offers spells and skills to use in a turn-based fashion that works from using gemstones as a casting currency and elements to add that bit of flavour from weaknesses and resistances. This is pretty old hat in the genre. My main issue is the staying power that the game will have over the course of an entire campaign. Hopefully, new mechanics will be introduced over the course of its story, because as wonderful as its writing has been thus far, good writing and good visuals does not a classic RPG make. That aside, I have one last thing I'd like to add before letting you go. Thank God for demos. They still have a place in video games to me, and I hope that they long continue. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.